Time for our Royal Masterminds, Lady Colin Campbell and Phil Dampier. And at the weekend, Prince Harry took time away from his domestic duties in Montecito, travelling to Singapore to take part in a charity polo match. And the lattice trip coincided with a bombshell report from the Sun newspaper revealing that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex can't agree on how to bring up their children, 4-year-old Archie and 2-year-old Lilibet. According to an insider, Harry is obsessed with providing his kids with the security and privacy that he feels that he never had growing up, while Meghan wants to raise them more openly in California. The source also added that Meghan's patience has been tested over Harry's numerous court battles with the British press, telling The Sun Meghan would love to be done with all the legal stuff, but she's still supportive of him as she knows how important it is to him, but she is ready to move on. However, the newspaper still insisted that the marriage was, quote, strong. So, Lady C, this was really interesting new information from The Sun. Are you hearing that the marriage remains strong despite clearly two big rifts, one over how they raise their kids and two over Harry's obsession with taking down the British media and a whole series of legal actions?
Well, my understanding is that the marriage is very troubled, but that doesn't mean that it's going to collapse in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But I have been told by very many reliable sources that the marriage is troubled. And you only need to see that, obviously, if they can't even agree on how to bring up the children, and Harry's paranoia is a huge problem. It was a huge problem for his previous girlfriends. It's a huge problem developing for Meghan. And, you can't bring children up divorced from reality and divorced from the world because you have a paranoid fear of the press and of anything going wrong. It's just insane. So my understanding is the marriage is still very awkward, let's put it that way. But that doesn't mean they're going to get divorced in the next 3 weeks or 3 months.
Phil, what you're hearing, though, is a bit more in line with The Sun reporting, which is that there might be a few disagreements, but overall you think the marriage is OK?
Yeah, good evening, Dan. I've been saying for some time that I think the marriage is not as bad as people are making out, even though they seem to be leading sort of pretty separate lives. Lady C's absolutely right. I mean, he is paranoid about security, and they do seem to be a bit sort of cooped up there, don't they? And you don't get the impression that the kids, Archie and Lilibet, are mixing with other children. And you can't live your whole life like that. I mean, I think it'd be quite a good idea if they took them to the Invictus Games, actually. I mean, after all, Harry and William both went on royal tours when they were very young. So maybe they should get, send a message out that the marriage is good, the kids are out and about. But you can't live your life cooped up like that. And I can understand Meghan wanting to have a sort of more freewheeling Californian lifestyle. But he is absolutely terrified that something might happen to them. So I don't think they can go on like that. I mean, if they did come over to the Invictus Games, obviously it would have been fantastic if they could have popped in to see their cousins. But, of course, that's not going to happen.
That's certainly not going to happen. Look, fascinating new poll from the Mail on Sunday over the weekend, Lady C, shows that 52% of Brits would support Prince Harry being removed from the order of succession to prevent him ever becoming king. What's your take on it, Lady C? Because, I mean, that would be a dramatic move.
Well, I think if Harry were to become king, it would be the end of the monarchy. I cannot think that there are many people I know who are all avowed monarchists who would actually wish to have King Henry IX, because he is too disturbed, he is too disturbing, she is totally inadequate. I mean, it would be Archie Bunker in Buckingham Palace with his parent, and this. It would be I think it would be a good idea if Harry could renounce his rights of succession to the throne for himself and those 2 children. I think that would be. You
don't think the king will ever do that?
No, I don't
the king doesn't have to do it.
OK, because you would say he should do it. OK. But why would he do that, Phil? Because at the end of the day, he wants to be king, right? He still wants to be king.
I mean, the late Queen was absolutely terrified about this, wasn't she? To the extent that she asked Prince William to stop flying his family in helicopters because she thought that if the family was wiped out, God forbid, Harry would be in line to the throne. There is one major problem, of course, and that's if we remove Harry and his children, who's next in line? The Duke of York. So it's never easy with these line of successions. I mean, we've got all sorts of strange people still in the line of succession. Marina Mowat, who was the black sheep of the royal family, she's about 61st in line. Peter Phillips might have lost his line of succession place, but when he married Alton, because she was a Catholic, but she gave up her religion and went into the Anglican faith. So people like staying in the line of succession. It's a kind of status symbol. But it is a bit worrying when you think about it that Harry's just, that close. And I think Lady C's right. The idea of him coming back and being king and Meghan queen, I'm sure she'd leave it, Meghan. I'm sure she'd love it. But Lady C's right. You count the end of the monarchy at the end of that.
Well, Meghan's much more focused on the bank balance at the moment, isn't she? Did you see her being conveniently papped wearing a new health gadget on her wrist over the weekend, which is said to combat stress? At the same time, Lady C, we're learning that she might relaunch her lifestyle blog, The Tig. What's going on here?
Well, she needs to earn money, and that seems to be the most valuable way of earning money. But you do know, Dan, that what she was doing was visiting a marriage counselling office, all bundled up in winter clothes in 75-degree weather. And the stress of going to see the marriage counsellor was obviously quite profound.
I mean, Phil, I guess we... Yeah, Phil, I guess I should say... we don't know for sure why she was in that building, Phil.
No, but I think we know for sure why she lifted her arm. I've actually got my own here, Dan. It looks a bit like a beer mat, suspiciously. But no, she's was clearly sort of lifting her arm up to be photographed. The company that make these things, Newcomb, I think they're already advertising with a picture of her on it. So clearly she's got a tie-up, and as you say, it's going to be a perfect sort of stuff for her to advertise on the TIG, which she's now apparently taken all the registration documents and everything she's signed to do that. So I'm sure that's going to happen soon, that she'll reopen that and have a sort of lifestyle blog like Gwyneth Paltrow. That's where the money could well be for her, and as Lady C says, she's got to make a living.
Brilliant exclusive insights as ever from our royal masterminds, Lady Colin Campbell and Phil Dampier. Thank you both. We'll speak later in the week.